You know, 1 second. Let me give me a second. I'm not ready. Just yet. I'm almost ready. I'm just a little tangled. I know there's a lot of people out. I know there's a lot of people out there um, trending on the internet, um, talking about different issues like racism being one of them, the economy. Um, Now, I haven't made a video in a long time, long time, because um, things have been happening in my life, moving from state to state and things like that. Um, However, I think right now I I think I want to jump into the conversation on here, and um, yes, this video is going to be about anti-Asianism, anti-blackness in the Asian world, and I think a lot of the conversation has been like carried out. A lot of it has been like kind of put forward by people that create these clips. They they create these clips to kind of like say, "Ooh, well, look, you got to vote for me because right now, this is before the election cycle. This is before we got to go out and elect a new president or elect a new leader in government." So right now, we have people that are circling the wagons trying to find voters. Why are they trying to find voters right now? And they're trying to find those voters because they know that just like in my lifetime back in the 1990s, the people are disillusioned. They're disillusioned, and so therefore, in order to find voters for the two-party system, we have to turn the cameras on inside to find those differences that we can exploit in order to get voters to come vote for us. Now, I know there's people that got dick down their throats for the different political parties. Some people have Joe Biden's dick down their throat, just like some people have Donald Trump's dick down their throat, or not just Donald Trump's dick down their throat, but the progressive caucus down their throat, and or the conservative right wing down their throats. And if you are either of those audience members or either of those people, this is not about to be a friendly video for you. Specifically, I want to talk to Black people, and I want to talk to Asian people. I want to talk to Asian people because I think there are some things that they are not getting. There are some things that they are not understanding, and I think the biggest problem with the Asian community and the Black community is the lack of fellowship and the lack of communication between them. And it's always been that way. It's been that way. I was listening to a dang. Let me see if I can pull up the guy that I was listening to. That's a good thing about my system now. It's huge, and I can just pull up videos and stuff if I need to. And but wow, let's see. YouTube. I was looking at. I was looking at Millennial Boomer. Millennial Boomer. Now I know when it pertains to Asians in the political atmosphere here in the U.S., there are each of the sects um, of Asians, um, be it Koreans, be it the Chinese, be it the Japanese, be it the Vietnamese, because they're not all a like I try to explain to people about different racial groups and stuff. They're not cloisters and stuff, right? And each of these each of these particular groups have reasons to disagree with each other. They also have um, they try to find this solidarity so, within each other, just like racial groups do inside of the U.S. political system, because the U.S. political system is built off of racism and the existence of racism. Because if it were not so, it wouldn't exist like this. You would have a workers' party, but we would be like Britain. We'd be like Great Britain, where they would have the Tories and they would have the labor. Like that. Necessarily, they don't insist on a communist structure, but however, they insist on a system that empowers the labor government from a political means. And that is something that we thought existed here in the U.S., but it don't exist in the U.S. Okay, now listening to Millennial Boomer, um, he brought up that what is the source? What is the source of anti-blackness in the Asian community? And he said, okay, well, there was a this thing goes all the way back to the Rodney King riots. Go all the way back, and I like I believe if he were to go and look a little bit more, go and talk to his scholars and stuff like, they'll give him a different opinion. While I will not sit here and say that okay, well, the Rodney King riots and the because the tensions were building up even before the Rodney King riots and stuff. It's just during the Rodney King riots and stuff, all this stuff boiled over stuff. And remember Ice Cube's career. Remember Ice Cube's career. Ice Cube talked about the infusion, the infusion of not just Asian stores, but when I grew up in Detroit, it was talking about the Arab stores and the Chaldean stores that are there too. And this overall idea that these guys come in to sell us subpar, substandard things and stuff. They don't even show up. They don't even show up. They're behind bulletproof glass every day. I know I know like they're in business, and I'm not gonna get on any stage and stuff and say like black people have just been the greatest actors when it comes to doing business and stuff, right? But you gotta recognize some of the tension there, and that is the store. I mean, you behind bulletproof glass. I might have like when I go to an Asian food restaurant, when I go to a Chinese food restaurant, because it's what it's called. They don't call it what it's called in my neighborhood and stuff. I mean, I'm sorry, guys feel a little bit rubbed the wrong way on that one, but we go to a Chinese food restaurant and stuff like there. I don't see the bulletproof glass. Even when I go to the Asian stores, I don't see any bulletproof glass. But I tell you where I don't see them. I don't see them in my schools. We don't fucking know you guys. We don't know. We don't know you guys and stuff. All we hear is the propaganda. All we hear is the propaganda. So, and then on top of that, we see our business go there. I know I will watch a few videos with some Asian fellas. It's talking about, okay, well, yeah, we're not in your neighborhoods because we like you. That's right. We knew that you wasn't in the neighborhood because you liked us since the '60s. So, so that was 30 years. That was at least 30 years before the Rodney King riots. That was at least 32 years before the Rodney King riots, because I believe the Rodney King riots was in 1992. So, how did this? I think that you got to reach a little bit further back, because the further back you reach, the more positive our the black community and the Asian communities interactions were. And I know they're like, and I know right now they're like seem like limited and whatever whatnot. But follow me for a second. Follow follow me for just a second. And I want to talk about the '60s. I want to go back to the '60s. And any like if you watch the Black Diaspora channel, you watch the Black Star Network, you watch a lot of other. We try to explain it. We try to we. I know people need to sit here and get the perspectives and stuff. And I've been sitting down, and hopefully I try to correctly express the perspectives that I've been getting so far from the Asian community on this. But you need to sit and listen and look at the dominant media. See, now this is what Asian people feel like when it comes to black people, and especially when black people talk about racism. And that is, they have political power now. Black people have political power now, and therefore, and as black people, they exercise greater political power than us. Well, while that may be, but that while that may be because we're completely sold out to the two-sided political system, that both either side don't really give a shit about us and stuff. They're just courting our numbers, like they did back in fucking slavery. No, I don't believe. I think that is if you believe that and stuff, right? There's several other illusions that you kind of fell for too. Kind of really fell for it. Really didn't. You didn't really listen to your own scholars, and I'm not saying like I'm saying this with the full belief that individuals have their opinions, and that's okay, and that's fine. However, now let me tell you something about this media demon, millennial boomer. You think is he ever seen Saw 6, where you believe that the game is yours? No, no, you are worked by the media just as hard as anybody else, and it's because they believe that black folks are irrelevant. How is it that you can say that we exercise great political power? You have great political power, and the media and the political system can smile in your face in the daytime, but behind closed doors, they know that you're irrelevant, and they know they're making you irrelevant day by day. How is that? Now, the other thing that I don't think um, to appreciate are transplants, the transplanted ideas from where the nation is, and the sentiments that they bring over here. You think, okay, they may show you things that might have happened during the Rodney King riots, but that was not the sentiment across America. What they didn't show you was the black people that tried to help. There's the black people that tried to help. You can't discount hysteria. It's one of the things we're trying to avoid. You can't discount the hysteria. So here we go. From what I've been seeing, like when you see people living in Asian countries, we see people living in Asian countries. Now, somebody tried to lecture me about ethno states, and I said, okay, well, ethno states are colonized. They're colonized. Most ethnic states came in proximity with white supremacy, and out of protectionism, they created the ethno states for themselves, which was a natural reaction because if you're a company, if you're a country, if you're a people, you have to act in the interest that protects. Like that's why North Korea to me and stuff and really, while they can improve and stuff, right? Korea has to, North and South Korea have to appreciate the fact that they are a people that have a country that they are in control of, so they can control their own destiny. I want you to think about that. The other thing that is inherently anti-black to me is that what they don't talk about is how a lot of these, right, it's not the educated Asians. The educated Asians exercise great sensitivity when they speak, and I try to exercise that sensitivity too, because I cannot speak to the pain, I cannot speak to the suffering, I cannot speak to the fear that Asian people feel being in this nation. But some of them, they feel. But what was it? The FBI statistics. The FBI statistics. I'm not saying that Asian people don't experience these things and stuff, right? But they're doing what white people did back in the Trayvon Martin case. In the Trayvon Martin case, you remember the Trayvon Martin case with George Zimmerman, where like first thing we were trying to say was, George Zimmerman was a white supremacist, but really the media has a and here we go. You rightly hate the media. You rightly hate the media. But let me tell you what happened here. What happened here with the case of Trayvon Martin? Just in case you missed it, and that was that they vilified a person that was already dead. They vilified a person that was already dead that was not here to defend himself. We had this idea that because black people are dangerous, how do they show that black people were just dangerous? Just dangerous. First thing they talked about was 1993 talking points about the disparities in the black communities as it pertained to crime. And what they said was, you're within this body of people who completely got it wrong. They tried to label the whole race as just inherently violent, inherently, and nobody wanted to call him on it because it was the FBI, and whatever the FBI says, it has to be true. It has to be true. It can't be challenged because these are the people that we paid to track this. When you should know that the president's own since the time of Marcus Garvey was there to paint this picture of the black man. So when he tried to get allies, when he tried to get people to come in for his cause and stuff, they'll be largely ignored because they're just inherently violent. They pulled that. What was the game? It was the punch out game. They're like, okay, well, yeah, we're gonna show. This white appearing person, stuff, right? We're gonna let them kill this black kid and the test was, okay, if we show enough people who are not him, who don't have anything to do with this kid, attacking, punching random people out in the street and calling it a game, and saying, okay, well, yeah, look, these niggas are just dangerous. And they don't have the right to defend themselves. As a matter of fact, and stuff. Let's not talk about black people in self-defense. let's not bring up black people in self-defense and how we just basically in this country are denied self-defense. So that is the thing that they're pulling over on the Asian community now. That is the thing that they're pulling over on the Asian community now. And if the Asian community isn't careful, they're going to fall for this stuff. And they've been trying to pull this stuff since it actually no, I think it turns on and off. Sometimes it isn't when they feel that black people, especially black women, because that's who they're courting now. They're not courting black men and stuff. They already decided that okay, well, they're just going to completely remove black men from society because black men is totally just unreachable to them. We're going to totally remove black men from society because everybody just hates black men. Okay, especially black women. Okay, so if we want to pander to our black women base, and if we end up making a few of them uncomfortable with us and stuff, we're going to reinforce the idea that this black man is dangerous to you. And then take that banner and say, okay, well, here are these crime statistics. Here are these crime statistics. They're dangerous to you. And they ran that along with the affirmative action case and saying, oh, well, look, these black folks are, they're getting more privileges than you. They don't deserve it. They don't deserve it. They don't deserve it. They haven't, it's racist to say that this nation should pay you any sort of reparations for for your for your enslavement. And not only that, and stuff. I remember seeing a Asian guy try to debate a black man over it and brought up internment camps. And I'm like, okay, listen, you bring up internment camps, but your parents have come here after internment camps into after internment camps are ended and stuff, right? So you wave that banner, you look at black people as if they were the ones that put you in those camps and say, look, was that unfair? Maybe you shouldn't ask black people if putting Asians in Japanese internment camps were unfair, but you should ask the government who did that. Okay. But these are this is two these guys who are call themselves wants to be allies to the right because they believe that they're going to get a fair shake out of it and stuff, and they're like, okay, well, look, we're gonna turn it and we're gonna flip it on this side and stuff, and this time that we're gonna do it. Okay, no, you're not. That's not how white supremacy works. But you're gonna learn. You're gonna learn. So, like I said, reach. Like I'm saying, if you reach a little bit further back, in my belief, you'll find out why is there a real visceral divide with black people, with black people there, and it has to do with the Red Scare. It has to do with the Red Scare. It has to do with the end of the civil rights movement. Um, Not too far back during the civil rights movement when black people won affirmative action. It was not black people. It was just white women, and white women got a win. And on the tail end of that, black men got 10 seats, or black people in general got 10 seats, and had to come with that as a correction, especially when people are saying, okay, well, this was something that specifically supposed to have benefited the Asian community. And let me see, there was a There's a college lecture on affirmative action. Let's see if I can pull this up. Now, okay, here we go. The plaintiffs, the win for Asians. Yeah. Um, Now, before I say what I'm gonna say, I'm gonna pull up this for because I want this to sink in when I say it. Affirmative action was not about Asian discrimination. Affirmative action, um, and this is one of the things that I think upset the Asian community because now, if you don't believe that the Native Asians, the people that were here since since before and after World War II, were here, and they were very politically active. They were very politically active and stuff. But what happened? And that they didn't really get anything for what they done. They didn't really get anything for what they done. There is case in point. There's a photo where Malcolm X was shot. Malcolm X was he was assassinated. There was an Asian. There was a I think there was a I forget her ethnicity exactly, but there was an Asian lady in the photo, and she converted to Islam. She converted to Islam. Um, and let's talk about something else that was kind of really popular back then too, and that is communism. Communism was popular with black people because the outside communist parties, this is Russia and China specifically, saw what African Americans and other minorities, which would include the Mexicans and the Asians and the Native Americans that were standing in solidarity and stuff, coincide with the party aims, with the aims of communism, with the aims of communism. I mean, communism is completely different now and stuff, right? But I mean, you can kind of see how China has some problems, but they are still trying to um, find ways to stick to communist principles. They are communists, but they're trying to find more ways to align with communist principles by being more inclusive. Something not to say that they don't have problems. They do have problems. And some of those problems have transplanted themselves into the U.S. And some of the people that transplanted into the U.S. With some of those issues feel that they have found allies with white supremacy. Um, so um, there's a specific there is a specific course. Every time I try to find stuff, they kind of take it away. But it was done by Asian University, and they debated the merits of the case. And one of the things that they kind of hammered home was what I was just said was what was affirmative actions thing, or what was for. And it was them, and it was the other case where the white lady. Okay, so the general sentiment that they tried to build around affirmative action, kind of sell it with Asians, was look, affirmative action, these are seats that would otherwise go to other people. These are seats that would otherwise go to other people, which is far from the truth. Because if you know anything about administration and how these programs are written and stuff, you know that these are slots that would go unfilled otherwise. It's like for example, I have 6 seats for Asians. I have 6 seats for blacks. I have 6 seats for Mexicans or immigrant or native descendants or whoever they are, and then there's nepotism so and then there's like nepotism and quid pro quo. What I heard from Harvard, which is white affirmative action. Nobody gives a shit about. I mean, they can say they give a shit about it in spirit, but really, no, they don't. But so consider that, consider that there is no such thing as meritocracy here in America. Ooh, what do you mean? There's no such thing as meritocracy here. And again, this goes all the way back to Asian people coming here from a system that is fundamentally different than theirs. They believe, see, they believe in their and it's not that Asians are racist, are they come over here with that particular racism. They don't love you. I mean, necessarily, like I love interracial mixing. I love interracial mixing because I this is one of the things that I think technology is changing everything. I think interracial mixing is changing everything. We need because I'm as you can see, I'm not 100%. I am black, but not 100% African. Afro-European. There, did my blood work and everything. Um, we need a safe haven for these people who are de-aligning from all of the racism, all of the racisms. You got to come together. You got to come together, and we got to like create this place that we're trying to see because the mixed babies are the intermediaries. We are the ones that are like changing this shit along with technology. So, um, so there you go. So there you go. There, but what you will have from people like Megan Kelly, you come on like, oh, does the left discriminate against Asian people? And I think that kind of like pulls at Asian people's heartstrings too because they already feel. And I know now there is a sense of wanting to and willing to be um, wanting to create coalition amongst lots of Asians out there, and there's just some that's just not gonna like. They're just not gonna like you whatsoever and stuff. And it's okay. It's like nobody nobody's forcing you to do anything. We're just trying to get you to act in your best interest. It's, but yeah, you'll have people like, but they pull at their heartstrings. They use these buzzwords like, okay, well, black. They're gonna say the left, but when they say the left, they say, okay, well, look, all these black people are voting Democrats. These black people are voting against our interests. That's how they want to frame it. That's how they want to frame it. I don't affiliate with political parties. I used to try to loosely affiliate with political parties and stuff on the basis that, some they might squeak in something positive, passive, but stuff. But I've long lost hope for that a long time ago. But I digress. And here we go. Um, African diaspora. They talk about like how people are just bragging that they just shot it down. That's fine. Now, as I was saying earlier, um, they believe that they are because in China, even if you were in a place like China, or even if you were in a place like Japan, they may socially, they may feel a certain way about you, but as far as moving up the social ladder and stuff, right? They believe in merit. They believe in merit. And actually, if I was a black person in China today and stuff, there would be less pressure on me. You don't believe it. You don't believe it. There's like I've surveyed the amount of black businesses, the amount of African businesses, the amount of small African businesses that are in China today versus the amount of black businesses in America today, and tell me whose racism is um, more hurtful, more harmful. So I can say in that end, they believe that they are bringing this fairness, but they just don't understand the system like quite the way they should. And because they don't understand the system quite the way that they should, they're being jerked around by these political parties that just want votes. They just want their votes at the end of the day so they can pass their agendas. Now, I mean, to that end, I mean, I don't want to stay on too much longer, but I can leave links a little bit later on. But I would say that from my experience, I've served the military with a lot of great, with a lot of great Asian people. I ask myself sometimes, why don't I have more friends? Why is there? I want to reach out a little bit more. I want to reach out, but I mean, I know as a person can only do so much as myself if there's no efforts coming towards their stuff, and it takes two to kind of accomplish anything here. But um, I've never been a person to discriminate against Asian culture, any Asian culture, any like I found very when like I was always fascinated with knowing that there were Asians in the community, but I've never been around them. I patronize Asian businesses. I um, I love Asian culture. I've been like I feel that Asian culture has been, even as a black person growing up in Detroit, I can tell you that many black people feel that Asian culture is a part of their life, and they would never, ever. I mean, like I said, there are bad actors out there. There are bad actors, just like there are bad actors everywhere. But I can only say for myself that there's never at any point that I've ever decided that um, this is something that, and actually I regularly speak against that. I speak against, not only do I speak against people who believe that they should be a bit more aggressive against other communities moving in, but I'd speak. I mean, be it be it Hispanics, be it the immigrants and stuff. You know, I tell you a little factoid about immigrants, about the immigrant community and stuff. Right, those same people. You know, Mexico. When they're saying they were coming from Mexico, the Mexicans and stuff, I would say, okay, well, okay, you got to reach back to history. I mean, you can't rely on today because a lot of today has been manufactured by the government. Yes, I blame white supremacy. If you don't, if you're not educated on white supremacy and on how white supremacy operates and stuff in order to keep this division going, educate yourself. Educate yourself. Don't come to me and tell. Don't come to us, the people who have experienced this for generations, and tell us that we don't know what we're talking about. You need to look up the history. Ask us why we say that. We will give you the information. We will give you the information. Like I digressed from my point about Mexico. Mexico, um, they remember the Alamo. How did Texas get formed to begin with? Because Mexico had the first Afro president. They had the first Afro president. When runaway slaves would run away, they said, okay, well, first thing that our history books tell us is that they always slaves always escaped to the north. They never said that slaves fought in the bush with the Indians, with the Native Americans and stuff. You had like the Seminole tribes, the Geechees, and the not necessarily the Freemans. The Freemans were slaves that were bought by the Cherokee that was taken all the way to Oklahoma because Alexander, or what was it? Not Alexander, but Andrew Jackson chased them off their land. So those are the Freemans right there. But you had the Seminoles and the Geechees. Those are the ones that were fighting with the local native tribes and stuff, helping free slaves and stuff, and they were part of the reason why slavery became unsustainable. And then as they were forced marching slaves all the way to the west, the slaves escaped. They escaped, and Mexico helped them. They helped. There's an Afro-Mexican community that is there that have descendants that run all the way back to U.S. slavery. Look it up. And not only did they help them, they pushed back. They they pushed back, and that is one of the factors that went into the Alamo. They pushed back. They said the slaves went into Mexico and married the local women, and they're like, you ain't getting them back. We were the Chinese with black people. We were thick as thieves ever since they were building the railroad. We were going west, build the railroad. We were going west and stuff. And we created a Chinatown inside of Portland, Oregon, and around the time where they were saying they didn't want any blacks, they didn't want any Mexicans, they didn't want any they didn't want any Jews. They didn't want nothing there. The KKK was and then we have our magicians. Our magicians would travel through the country, and they would get no service until they came to Chinatown. In Chinatown, like, I mean, necessarily they didn't necessarily say they loved us, but at least we was able to spend our money with them, which is I think it's a good thing, and we have created enough business with them to where we created our own. We created there's a 5-star hotel that is in Portland, Oregon, that is a homeless shelter, that is a museum and a homeless shelter to this day in Portland, in Oregon. That is still there. You can look that up. We were. You want to know how else thick as thieves we were with the Chinese, and the Chinese in this. This is before we really had a lot of to do with the Koreans, because the Koreans really didn't come in until after the Civil Rights Act. the Civil Rights Act, and that was like they let other communities in on us and gave them incentives to open shops and stuff. But I mean, that's neither here. That's neither here or there. But it was because of the Red Scare. That I mean, you just got to know when you know history in certain time periods, especially and stuff, right? You know where to connect the dots in certain things and why there are certain antagonisms that exist in the community, and how nobody has really talked about any of this stuff yet. And that is like, okay, they didn't like the black community being in league with Mao and Ho Chi Minh. Remember Ho Chi Minh? They have a city in Vietnam over there. When Ho Chi Minh, where Ho Chi Minh was educated in America, and Ho Chi Minh wrote an essay on how he thought the disposition of the Black American was and stuff. You wouldn't believe it, but read Ho Chi Minh, read read Ho Chi Minh's opinions on Black Americans, stuff that change your mind about some stuff, right? See, I don't know. I've been looking at Vietnam so much and stuff right now. I think we're kind of ambivalent with the Vietnamese and stuff. We barely see them and stuff. We kind of tend to. This is American racism. We kind of like need all of the different colors in, like Play-Doh and stuff. We just put a big rubber stamp on whatever we think is different from us. Okay, so there's that, and it looks like that has been the wedge between us, and that is white supremacy. That's definitely white supremacy. And like I said, that doesn't account for a lot of the crime. That doesn't account for the crime. And I will be the one to get. I will be the first one who will be among the crowd to say, okay, well, we have to fight crime in our communities. We have to do better to kind of make our communities safer for everyone. Because in the end, it destroys our progress. It destroys our progress, and it skews into a direction that it really isn't favorable for us. So yeah, I will be able to say that. But is this a thing of racism? Again, um, I would say that you have to evaluate. You have personal prejudice. Racism is a structure, is an institution. It's an institution. Read the if you um, read the books on racism. Read the books on racism, and then give your opinions on the books on racism and stuff, and tell me if prejudice equates to the things that racism have done. Okay, and I think that's kind of like that is necessarily. I believe there's a lot of things that as a black community, it's a black community. I mean, I don't feel like I'm a monolith over here. I'm in fucking Hawaii and stuff. I don't fucking talk to nobody or whatever. I'm speaking personally, but that I think that there's issues like solidarity. Like what was the in Flint, Michigan? I don't believe that any of the restaurant owners was necessarily a part of it, but they were very involved, very involved. They were the first people. They were one of the first people to sound the alarms of how bad the water was in Flint, Michigan. There's like I don't know if anybody remembers, but I remember going to his restaurant. The band's restaurant is located on Gort Highway, and I would frequently with my dad go to his restaurant and stuff. I mean, it was a great place. It's a great place. It's a monument. But he was the first one to say, "Hey, I had to change my filters at over the last couple weeks. I had to change them times, and that was over what I used to change it like once every 3 months." We should have known there was a problem there. It's an Asian store, Asian restaurant owner. So I think that when it comes to a lot of issues and stuff, there are ways that people in different areas of society, especially um, people we should be in solidarity with, can look out for us if we keep our end of the bargain. So I think that's all got for now. I'll like put some links in my video for people to evaluate for themselves. Now, this is not a um, a rant that is leading towards saying a person is right or wrong or anything like that. I just think that from the arguments that I've seen so far, there's definitely some things that are missing. There are definitely some things that are missing that are definitely people are only um, engaged in the conversation with from the outside view with people just so they can push their their own agenda. We have to, and I necessarily believe that white supremacy is a thing, and it's a thing that has to be eradicated with all energy. If you don't believe it, stuff again, read the books on racism, read the books on white supremacy. If there were no, if all of the white supremacy, if there was no white supremacy, there would be no white supremacy authors. There would be no Thomas Carlyle's. There would be no Charles Darwin's. There would be no Lothrop Stoddards. There would be no Eugen Fisher's. There would be no eugenics movement because the eugenics movement was largely a white supremacist issue. Every eugenics movement was adopted from the U.S. By another external country, believing that it was something that was helping them. As you can see, all of these things are dying down now because they know that these are not things that are particularly helpful to them. I believe once we like there was a radio show on YouTube. I can't find them anymore. Called Context of White Supremacy. I believe in destroying white supremacy and replacing it with justice, the justice system, because white supremacy equals justice for nobody. Okay, I'm gonna stop for now. I'm a little tired.